is in Harrisonburg, Virginia for today's NCAA Division III men's soccer match featuring the Messiah Falcons and the Lynchburg Hornets. Let's meet tonight's starting lineups. First for Messiah. At defense, number 5, Davis Rohde. At midfield, number 6, Grant Schreiner. At midfield, number 7, Isaac Schmidtke. At forward, number 8, Gabe Redke. At forward, number 10, Patrick Lee. At forward, number 11, Kyle Spodnik. At forward, number 12, Elijah Perry. At defense, number 16, Matt Griffin. At defense, number 18, Caleb Daniels. At midfield, number 23, Davis Paget. In goal, number 1, Kessler Forrest. Head coach, Brad McCarty. And now let's meet the starters for the Lynchburg Hornets. At defense, number 2, Isaac Torres. At defense, number 4, Will Casey. At defense, number 5, Benji Velasquez. At midfield, number 10, Keaton Napier. At forward, number 16, Chris Wiley. At forward, number 17, Chris Bovo. At forward, number 18, Evan Pask. At midfield, number 30, Matthew Viscuso. At forward, number 31, Isaac Cruz. And at defense, number 32, Reed Rouse. In goal, number 1, Thomas Viscuso. Head coach for the Hornets, Chris Yeager. At this time, we now ask that you please rise, if able, and remove your caps for the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. It's a midweek showdown between the Messiah Falcons and the Lynchburg Hornets here at Horizons Edge Sports Camp, Virginia. The Hornets coming into this one red hot with a 6-game winning streak, unbeaten through their first 10 contests, sitting at 8-0-2. Lynchburg firing hot on offense, a top 10 team just by goals scored this season. They have been a dynamic bunch with an anchor of a back line to give them one of the top goal differentials in all of Division III soccer. But they come against a Messiah team that is slowly starting to find their identity as this season moves along. The Falcons with an extraordinarily difficult schedule right out of the gates. Schools like Dickinson right to meet them as soon as they started off the season. A squad that began the year ranked in the national polls has since dropped out. Nevertheless, they're starting to pick up a little bit of traction, mainly due to a different play style that's been presented over the course of the season. This team has slowly started to sit back more and more. And while the offense necessarily hasn't had the same explosion that it did to begin the season, the defense has been phenomenal in the last handful of games. With that, let's walk you through the starting lineups for today's contest. First, for Messiah. In goal, it'll be Kessler Forrest. The backs of Davis Roddy, Matt Griffin, Caleb Daniels. The midfield unit of Grant Schreiner, Isaac Schmidtke, and Davis Padgett. The forwards, Gabe Redkay, Patrick Lee, Kyle Spodnik, Elijah Perry. And that rounds out the starting 11 for the Messiah Falcons. Now on the flip side for the Lynchburg Hornets, it's Thomas Viscuso, the veteran keeper, getting the nod between the pipes. Isaac Torres, Will Casey, Benji Velasquez, and Reed Rouse make up that back line. And with Keaton Napier alongside Matthew Viscuso in the middle for the Hornets. Then a tandem of 4 forwards for Lynchburg with Chris Wiley, Chris Bovo, Evan Pask, and Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz, someone that has really started to play well offensively, tallying 4 goals in the last 2 games, notched the hat trick in their most recent dominant victory, 9-0 over the Averett Cougars. We start play with the Falcons on the attack. Messiah wearing the white and gray kits today with blue numbers and lettering. Lynchburg in the all black with a touch of red and white. Mentioned a little bit about what Messiah has had to go through this season. You started with University of Scranton, Claremont, and Rowan, Dickinson, Salisbury. Right out of the gate, that is an extraordinarily challenging opening handful of contests. And through those first 5 games, they dropped every single one of them and allowed multiple goals in each. Through their first 5 contests, they allowed 2, 4, 4, 3, 4. And with that, they scored 3 against Rowan and against Claremont Mud Scripps. However, they were shut out in the other 3 of those opening 5. And we look what's happened lately. You play a very strong Mary Washington team, who's probably the best squad that Lynchburg has also played so far this season. You drop that one 0-2, but then you come right back with a 1-0 victory against Lycoming College, and then a draw 0-0 against Widener University in their most recent outing, which kicked off their conference play for the season. This will be both squads' final non-conference game of the regular season. Messiah heads back up north to St. David's, Pennsylvania for a meeting with Eastern University this upcoming Friday. Meanwhile, Lynchburg returns to conference play on Saturday, playing Virginia Wesleyan. And the talk of the ODAC has really been all about Virginia Wesleyan and Hampton-Sydney so far this season. Evan Pask with some speed down the near sideline. Looking up for Wiley, but a little too much juice behind his pass. Has it taken away by a Falcon. Messiah now surveying in the inside of the field. Works towards the near sideline. A quick dump off. And a beautiful slide tackle from Keaton Napier to jar it free.
but Patrick Lee takes it right back. Now with numbers, trying to get a through ball. Benji Velasquez extends that right foot just enough to knock it away, and Viscuso corrals. Thomas Viscuso, a chance to surpass the Lynchburg goalkeeper coach this season for most career shutouts. Comes into this contest with 21 shutouts to his name. Lynchburg has had 6 this season. Viscuso has only been credited with 3. He's checked out of a handful of them midway through, most notably the 9-0 victories over Regent and Everett. Nevertheless, it has been a phenomenal campaign for Viscuso, who's really built a legacy with the Hornets during his tenure in the red and black. Reed Rouse will have the throw in on the near sideline. Rouse directing traffic, goes down low for Evan Pask. Popped around in a sky-high ball towards the near sideline. Casey with a nice touch, finds its way over for Wiley. He'll send it back to Napier, and Torres now will reset from the far side of the field. Lynchburg now will build it from behind. Redirect over for Reed Rouse. Got the chance to talk to Benjamin Velasquez earlier on this week and talk to him about how he feels like the progress of the defense has come along. A group that is so well versed with one another and already has so much chemistry, but he's telling me it's been great to build that even more so, especially now that we're implementing new stuff this season with pushing up me and Will and the wingbacks as well. And they've really started to have more of a focal point in that offense. Last time we were here in Harrisonburg, Virginia against Franklin and Marshall, it was Will Casey that had a career-high 2 goals and a 4-1 Hornet victory, and that really showcased what Yeager and company really want to implement this season, using those guys on the offensive end as much as they can. When you've got a special talent like that, it's like having Travis Hunter. You want to play both sides of the ball. Nevertheless, we digress from football back to football. So far this season, Lynchburg has tabbed 6 shutouts, and a big part of that has been this Lynchburg back line, and also a big part of Matthew Viscuso, the freshman and younger brother of keeper Thomas Viscuso, alongside Keaton Napier. Those midfielders, they are gritty defenders, along with being excellent distributors. Aaron pass, wide open in the middle. Will Casey right in front of it. The follow through, and Patrick Lee cleans it up. Messiah out in front. It all got started with a pass from Torres, looking back to the middle of the field. The initial shot ricocheted away, but Lynchburg not there for the rebound. Instead, it's Patrick Lee. Lee, the senior forward at a Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. Lee, the team's leading goal scorer this season, the leading points leader as well. That marks his 6th goal this season, to go along with 3 assists. Reed Rouse pushing upfield, looking for Cruz. Knocked away and sent right back into the foot of Rouse. Now Pask orchestrating through the middle of the field, tries to play it out wide. Now he'll let a long ball go. I'll say that was last touched by a gray and white jersey, and Lynchburg will get their first corner kick of the day. This is a Franklin and Marshall team that gets a whole lot of corner kicks. One of the best in the nation in that statistical category. They average 8 corners per match. But this time it's the Hornets. That's the first goal we've seen from Patrick Lee since September 17th against Evanstown. Corner kick popped out. Reed Rouse. Soft touch inside. Off the head of Velasquez and into the breadbasket of Kessler Forest. Patrick Lee started the year off phenomenally in the. He tabbed 4 goals. 2 against Claremont, 2 against Rowan. Building off a phenomenal campaign a season ago where he was second team all-region, along with a first team all-conference selection. That was the second consecutive season that he earned a first team all-conference nod. The senior making his mark early. This is a game where if Messiah could come away with a victory, you feel like you're right back into the picture. You've had so many tough tasks and tall orders this season in terms of the strength of schedule that you've played. We mentioned it. They've played 4 or 5 teams that have been at one point in the rankings, or at least receiving votes. And they've come up short in all those contests, but a chance to wash that all away with a victory here today. Isaac Cruz looking for a response. Pushed aside. A nice defensive play made by Schreiner. Now pushed up for Schmidtke. Reed Rouse collects. Battling with Schmidtke. Double team comes, shoots it upfield looking for Napier. Off the mark, over to Rohde. Rouse for Pask. He'll settle. You've got to credit Messiah for jumping out in front with an early attack. But you feel like that was somewhat of a self-inflicted wound by Lynchburg. Won't go down as an own goal, but that's how that whole sequence started. Very rarely are you going to see this back line make a miscue with a turnover such as that one, so deep in their own territory. It's not the only time Lynchburg has been down in Harrisonburg. They gave up the first goal to Franklin and Marshall in the opening half. Then Chris Bovo had a last second, literally last second, with 0.2 on the clock, tallied the equalizer against Franklin and Marshall, which really seized all the momentum in that affair, and the Hornets went on to rattle off 3 more goals to Franklin and Marshall's 0 in the second half. And this is a Franklin and Marshall team that majority of the goals they've given up this season have been in the second half. 60% of the goals they've allowed this year. So not too much of a disparity, but it is something that you are mindful of. This defense has slowly started to find its rhythm. 3 shutouts in their last 4 games. This is one where we came into it and thought we'd have a relatively low-scoring affair. Seems like Franklin and Marshall, pardon me, Messiah is going to try and keep it that way. Cruz down the end line. Lost the handle and scooped up by Forrest. Velasquez, far side of the field. 2 Hornets charging in, they collide. Now a physical play. Will Casey charged with a whistle. He's up in arms. He didn't agree with it. Clock will stop momentarily and resume. The free kick inside the 18. Chipped up. They'll say last touched by a Hornet. Now the first penalty kick of the day for Messiah. Viscuso with a nice diving grab. Will he want to push? Yes. Sends it downfield. Cruz with 2 Falcons in the area code. Perry. Keaton Napier possesses. Reed Rouse with a whole lot of real estate down the near sideline. Dishes it up for pass. Stops on a dime and cuts back towards the middle of the field. Quick pass. Scooped up by Griffin. Sent towards the bleachers. A nice toss from a young fan right into the breadbasket. Reed Rouse puts those back into play. Try it once more, same spot. Pump fakes back, now heads up down the sideline. Towards midfield, off the chest of Schmidtke. Over for Torres. We'll bring it back to Viscuso, just outside the 18. Busy day all across the board if you're a Lynchburg fan. You've got field hockey, men's soccer, women's soccer, volleyball, all playing tonight. Start time at 6 p.m. for everybody. They're spreading us thin. The competitive contests all across the board. This one especially highlighted. Been a whole lot of hype and anticipation around this non-conference affair. And it really sets the stage for what's to come in the upcoming week for the Hornets, with contests against Virginia Wesleyan and Hampton-Sydney on deck. 2 squads that are just in or right outside the national poll. Right now you've got 3 or 4 teams from the ODAC that have a real good shot of making a push for a tournament bid. And you're always going to see conferences like the NESCAC well represented. Traditionally, it's typically only been 1 or 2 slots coming out of the ODAC, but the level of play is quickly rising. All 4 of those squads this year have had difficult non-conference schedules that they've handled with relative ease, with schools like Franklin and Marshall and Messiah and Christopher Newport and Salisbury. Very talented region here in Central Virginia and beyond. Kessler Forest brings it in. Messiah so far this year 0-2-1 in all their contests away from home. They've played 3-4-1 on their home turf. It's a squad that a season ago finished 14-6-2 with an unblemished 7-0 in their conference play. Walked away with a MAC Commonwealth Championship after defeating York 2-1 in the final. Then went on to win their first NCAA tournament round game against Cortland which, I mean, you talk about high dramatics, postseason play. Messiah knows a thing or two about it. Last year you had a double overtime 1-1 draw that went to PKs, which Messiah won 4-3. And they followed that up with a 1-0 loss at the hands of Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts, 0-1 in double overtime. I mean, that's a whole lot of football on 2 consecutive days. Quick passing, poked away. Velasquez, the man that got a foot on it for Lynchburg. Cruz snares possession right back. A nice lead pass for Torres. Trying to hook up with Bovo. Ball batted around. Torres in a fight for it, and streaking in is Grant Schreiner. Hits it back for the Falcons. Now here comes Cruz. He's got some wheels. Over for Pask. That is something really unique about this Lynchburg squad in this season. You have a whole lot of talent on the edges in your front line. The past couple of years, it's been guys like Monze Shalita and Pat Figueroa and all the way back to Luke Mega that have really just operated to the middle and through the middle. And now you have 3-4 guys that are Ferraris. And when you've got wheels like that, you're not going to keep it in the garage, that's for sure. Whistle blown there on Velasquez. Messiah will march in the other direction. This is a Messiah squad that has experienced a whole lot of success under the tenure of head coach Brad McCarty. Entering his 16th season. Took over the program prior to the 2009 year. Served as an assistant in the program for 8 years before coming in as the head coach. I mean, when you walk in with a record of 326-21 in year 16, that's certainly going to put you on the map, as this header is corralled by Viscuso. And on the map he is. His winning percentage of .895 is the second highest winning percentage in NCAA men's or women's soccer across all 3 divisions, trailing only Scott Fred. Nice redirect. Elijah Perry sticks his foot in the ground and turns upfield. And I think that's a big reason why you don't hit the panic button this early in the season when you've got a program that is as renowned as Messiah. A school that's won 5 national championships since 2009, most recently back in 2017. They had a little bit of a dynasty going there in the early 2010s. Back-to-back in 09 and 010, and then once again in 2012 and 2013. every single year, they have either finished as the champion or a runner-up, aside from the 2013 campaign. They finished in the semifinals of the conference, but I think you'll take that when you go on to win a national championship after losing in your conference semifinal. I feel like you could trade that hardware and still be happy. Pask moving forward, over for Bovo. Inching slowly closer to the box. Pask cuts back, dishes out for Viscuso. And Torres. The center back, Napier. Rouse. Right into the foot of a Falcon defender. Here comes Perry. Out wide for Paget. Swung around the horn to Schreiner. Now back inside for Perry. Schreiner once again. Out wide for Rhodey. Bovo with a nice tackle. Cruz with his spin move to create some open space. This movement really stretching out the Lynchburg defense, forcing them to run back and forth. Start to wonder how much fatigue could potentially play an issue. Saya has done an excellent job of maintaining possession and working it around the pitch. Velasquez gets it out of harm's way. Redkay. Still yet to see any substitutions on either side. We just saw Carlos Andres Romero warm up and get ready to check in. You do have a handful of Falcons on the far side of the field now getting loose and preparing to come in. Be another set piece now for Messiah. About 30 yards out. Center of the box, off the head of Will Casey and out of play. A throw-in awaiting for Messiah. Entry feed out for Wiley. Dumps it off for Pask, who's on his horse. Long cross into the chest of Forrest. Beautiful night here in Harrisburg, Virginia. 61 degrees and clear skies. Be a couple clouds in there. I mean, this truly is a gorgeous facility. Trees all around. You got a little water fixture behind Lynchburg's goal. Plenty of room for all parties involved. Lynchburg fans, Messiah fans making the trek down 95. And now we're going to see a host of substitutions for each side. Fisher Daniel and Andres Romero in for the Hornets. Zach Buys, Sam Phillips, Jalen Keller in for Messiah. Alongside Mark Antonio. Down the near sideline for Keller. Feed for Spotnik. Now the cross for Torres. A nice header. Redirected out for Andres Romero. Tries to stop and go. Defender didn't bite. Messiah takes it right back. Now you've got numbers. The cross. Off the head of Casey. Into the foot. Oh my goodness. Kyle Spotnik had it land right at his left boot. A mere couple of inches over the top pipe. Keep us knotted at 1-0. Just about 16 minutes left to be played. Napier goes near side for Rouse. He'll feed him right back. Andres Romero with a nice move to keep it in play. The Lynchburg offense has been kept to a standstill here in the opening half. Reed Rouse with a cross. They'll say a toe on the line. Lynchburg turns it over. Forrest will have the goal kick. Forrest looks to send everybody deep. Directly at midfield. Torres with a nice slide tackle. Now on the outside for Casey. Two-man game with Rouse. Back for Thomas Viscuso. He finds Torres off the head and into the arms of Josh Hinkle, assistant coach. Wiley gets free through some contact. Now Andres Romero goes through a host of Falcons. Viscuso wants to send it back. Another risky pass, but it pays off. As Velasquez gets it around the forward. Now Rouse up for Fish. Wiley had an opening for a moment, knocked out to the near sideline. Evan Pask. Keaton Napier over for Torres. Little give and go. Torres gets his foot free. Just wide left. Couldn't put it on target. Just about 13 minutes remaining here in the opening 45. It's a 1-0 advantage for the Falcons thus far. Looking to build off the momentum that they've built in their last handful of games. And trying to snap this Lynchburg winning streak. A whistle off the throw-in. We've talked so much today about this Lynchburg offense. So far this season, scored 2, 0, 1. And that's when things started to heat up. 3, then 9, then 1. 4, 2, 3, 9. Just one game in their most recent 7 have they scored less than 2 goals. That's not the Lynchburg team that we saw a year ago that felt like if we could just get one, we're walking away with a victory. Now the defensive prowess has continued, but it's the offensive excellence that has really stood out. And it's been against formidable opponents. And when it's been against opponents that you have a real good sense that Lynchburg's a heavy favorite, they've taken care of business in a big way. The games that really stand out on the schedule thus far were a string of 3 games, a home game, a road game, and a neutral site with Mary, Washington, Franklin and Marshall, and Randolph-Macon. Randolph-Macon game was one of the most exciting games we've had this season for the Lynchburg Hornets squad. It was a early advantage for the Yellow Jackets. Scored off a PK in the opening half. Then Lynchburg responded in a big way, and after being tied at 1-1 for some time, it was a late goal with 4 minutes on the clock that catapulted Lynchburg out in front to extend this winning streak. And it's tough because you don't know what's more impressive. Wiley with a big shot. This one saved. That actually might have been Sean DiLorenzo. Yes, it was DiLorenzo in the affair. I apologize, missed a handful of substitutions. Got Rodriguez out there, DiLorenzo, Lopez Correas. Here's some space to operate. Cross to the left, now cutting back to his right, unloads. The ricochet once again winds up with a Falcon, still inside the box, and Velasquez gets it out. Now, Fisher Daniel in a foot race, won by a Falcon and Matt Griffin. Another dangerous sequence. And 2 guys get tangled up right there. Viscuso earns the whistle. Out wide, Torres Over for Rodriguez. Looking for a streaking DiLorenzo. I got the chance to talk to assistant coach Josh Hinkle earlier this week, and he was telling me about this newfound confidence that Sean DiLorenzo has acquired as of late. He said he came in for a meeting with the coaching staff and just kind of talked about where he was at. And the response that he has had, 4 goals in the last 2 games, had a hat trick against Averett, scored 1 against Randolph. They said it was that region game where he really got that solid foundation in his feet under him, where he scored 1, and Hinkle said it, a guy that knows the sport really well, a Lynchburg alum that had played for a very successful stint, and said, you know, sometimes all you need as a forward is just see the ball go in the back of the net, and that can do wonders for you. When he had 2 shots all year coming into that contest, and since then, that region game, he had 4 shots, 1 shot, 7 shots against Averett. And of those 6 shots, he said, all the ones on target, those are the ones that are going through. He's been very, very effective with his accuracy. A young player, a sophomore out of Blacksburg, Virginia, right down the road here in Harrisburg. Massonet. Nice feed. Torres dishes down low for DiLorenzo. He'll go up Rodriguez. Far side, Andres Romero. Lets it fly. Another good grab. Forrest has had great anticipation so far today. Velasquez ran it all the way, beat him to the spot. A beeline over for Viscuso. Now Lynchburg will walk it up near side. Just about 6 minutes left to be played here in the opening half. Rodriguez with plenty of room to operate. Lopez Correas. Just enough to get it over for Daniel. He gets tangled up. And a whistle on Daniel. How about that? Taken away by Massonet. Andres Romero cutting inside, taken down. That's a big penalty. This Franklin and Marshall defense has played so solid through the opening 4. And with 5 remaining in the first half, Lynchburg with the best opportunity they've had all day. Vasquez will step up to it. A chance to tie. Velasquez with a bullet. The equalizer.
Goal, Lynchburg.
Oh my goodness, he just broke the flag in half.
Velasquez.
He must have had a vendetta against that flag on the far side of the field. Now he's playing Bob the Builder. Oh, no, it's not going to stay up. Well, you're not going to see that one every day. That is a costly penalty for Messiah after you've played so great through the first 40 minutes. That's a tough way to end the half, but we're not out of the first 45 quite yet. You still have a chance to respond here with 5 to go. That is Velasquez's first goal of the 2025 campaign. It's got a similar feel to the last game that Lynchburg played on this exact same field, where they're picking up momentum in the final moments of the first half. Fisher Daniel. Rodriguez now wants to go. Knocked out of bounds, and Lynchburg awarded a throw-in. And that is just the third goal in Velasquez's long career with the Hornets. Had one back in 2022 and one in 2023. He'll have the throw in here. Near side post, off the head of Casey, rattled around, finds its way back to Daniel on the near side of the field. Daniel with the left foot, looking inside. Another dangerous sequence right there for Franklin and Marshall. That ball from Daniel just split two Hornets. Just about 3.5 remaining. Patience on this possession from Messiah. An opening at midfield. Now the Falcons want to go. Taken away by Velasquez. Tussling with Sam Phillips. Gilman, met by two Hornets. Andres Romero. Now Lopez Correas. Out in front, Andres Romero keeps it in play. Nice ball over for Daniel. Daniel on his horse. Winding and weaving inside the 18. Lopez Correas in the top shelf. Lynchburg with back-to-back goals, and the Hornets jump out in front. Saul Lopez Correas, the freshman.
Scored by number 12, Saul Lopez Correas.
His first collegiate goal, and it was a beauty. Two goals less than 3 minutes apart from one another. And this game has a whole different complexion. Now, if you're Messiah, you need to respond in a very big way. This is a Lynchburg team that came out a little slow and sloppy. They had an errant pass as they tried to weave it across the middle. A ball that was stolen away, shot, ricocheted off the save from Viscuso and capitalized on for the first goal of the day. Andres Romero doing a little bit of dancing at midfield. And after 40 minutes of excellence from this Messiah defense, one costly penalty just completely changed the trajectory of this opening half. What about the play from Lopez Correas, a guy that's gotten more and more playing time as the season's gone along. Fisher Daniel off the back of his heel, taken away by the Falcons. Casey keeps it on their offensive half. Torres will push up under a minute. Now they want to slow it down. That one out of bounds. Lynchburg will throw in, that clock working against him. Reed Rouse trying to push everybody downfield. Here's the heave, 10 seconds
10,
to go.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
And that will bring the opening half to a close.
1.
Torres with a long ball that's punched up. First 40 minutes owned by the Messiah Falcons, but it's the last 5 that give Lynchburg a 2-1 advantage as we head to the intermission. Stick with us on FloSports. We'll be right back for the second 45 coming your way. And we welcome you back in under the lights here in Harrisonburg, Virginia at Horizons Edge Sports Campus. Joe Brennan on behalf of LHSN and Flo College. It's the Lynchburg Hornets leading 2-1 in a thrilling affair thus far here on a Wednesday evening. First 40 minutes were all Messiah. The Falcons got the first one of the day. It was Patrick Lee that slipped the first one past Viscuso. And with 5 minutes to go, Lynchburg took over. A penalty kick scored by Benji Velasquez after Fisher Daniel drew the contact inside the box. Then, less than 3 minutes later, Fisher Daniel once again helping out his teammates. A dish over for Saul Lopez Correas. Into the top right of the cage, and Lynchburg walked out of the first half with a 2-1 advantage to get us situated here for half number 2. Messiah with 6 shots to Lynchburg's 5. Both sides have gotten 3 on target, just 1 corner kick also for each side thus far. It's been a relatively clean contest, a combined 10 fouls between the two parties, 6 of which have been on the Hornets. A fun one in store for us here to close it out for each side's final non-conference game of the 2025 campaign. In the regular season, you've got a feeling that both these teams have a real good shot making it to the NCAA tournament. Pass, lost possession. Shot downfield. Gets past. Over for Casey. Reed Rouse, far side of the field. Redirects Torres. Streaking towards the cage. Torres sticks his foot in the ground. Swings it back near side for Pask. Now he wants to go towards the middle. Across and through. Evan Pask puts the Hornets up 3-1. Picking up right where they left off.
Lynchburg, score by number 18, Evan
Lynchburg
Pask.
with 3 goals in the last 7.5 minutes. When it rains, it pours, and the floodgates have been opened. That one, a knuckleball coming from Pask. Landed right in front of the goal line, and a tricky bounce for the veteran keeper Forrest to try and handle. The 4th goal this season for Evan Pask. That ties him for 2nd most on the squad. You now have 5 Hornets this season with 4 or more goals. Sean DiLorenzo leading that column with 5 this season, coming off a hat trick in last game. Oh, a little crafty 2-man game. Torres trotting inside, but a little too much on that last touch. Couldn't keep it in front of him. Brody with a toss. Out of bounds. And the fans in red and black, a whole lot to cheer for right now. Pask will take the corner. In these situations, so far this season, it's been one of three guys primarily that they've looked for out of these corners. Napier, Velasquez, and Casey. Napier's playing real tight. You get the sense it's not going to be him. Pask, far side post. Kicked out of the box by Redke. Long ball downfield. Velasquez didn't want to jump for it, avoiding the collision with Forrest. Keeper will roll it out near side. Rhodey pushes it down. Sent right back the other way by Torres, off the noggin of Wiley, and we go back and forth like a game of tennis. Lynchburg has won every game this season where they have scored multiple goals. Still unbeaten on the year through their first 10 and riding a 7-game win streak. We can give you some scores around the ODAC. Christopher Newport and Washington and Lee with a 0-0 draw earlier today. That's a big one for Washington and Lee as they're really starting to find their stride here towards the latter part of the season. Or towards the midway mark, rather. Virginia Wesleyan and Randolph-Macon just now getting started. 0-0 in the 14th minute. We've also got Averett and Roanoke getting started in the 14th minute as well. 0-0. I'll give you some scores around the Hive as well from tonight. You've got women's field hockey leading 11-0 over Sweetbriar. Women's soccer in a 0-0 affair right now against Virginia Wesleyan as they're headed into the second half. And women's volleyball just completed the 3-set sweep over the Guilford Quakers. That's a big win for the women's volleyball team. .38 and some change to go. Lynchburg is controlled here in the opening stages of the second half. Into the middle for Pask. He's got room to operate. Pask inside for Cruz. Just a little too far to the left for him to get it in stride. Lynchburg reclaims possession deep in Falcon territory. Wiley off for Cruz, just outside the box. Cruz with a left foot. This one is stopped by Forrest. Now we'll dish it out wide for Padgett. Nice ball right down the line, but the speedster Torres beats him to the spot. side, it's Griffin being harassed by Wiley. 16-on-16 crime. Special thank you to our production crew tonight, making the trek out here to Harrisonburg. Got Ethan Morotsky and Trey Gillenwater running camera and directing your broadcast this evening, along with PA and scoreboard. They're wearing a whole lot of hats tonight. Here's a chance for Messiah down the end line. The cross taken away by Torres. He gets it out of trouble. And now Cruz evacuates the zip code. Little two-man game back and forth. Cruz streaking downfield, weaving his way through defenders. Nice tackle to get it back to Pask. Now Lynchburg will simmer things down a little bit. Or no. Sion almost ripped it right back. Before I was rudely interrupted by a dynamic play from Isaac Cruz. Also Josh Smith, Bridgewater's Associate Director of Athletic Communications, in the house tonight, repping the Lynchburg red and white. Bridgewater obviously right down the road here in Harrisonburg. Josh, a valued member of our team last 2 years, making the transition to our foe, and he is just doing a spectacular job there. Nevertheless, we digress. Under 36 minutes to go. Lynchburg near side. Reversed over to Rouse. That reversal has really sparked some offense tonight. Viscuso, 4-on-4 break. Chips it out in front for Andres Romero. A little too much heat behind that dish. It's a hot plate. Cruz with the interception. Andres Romero. Taken away by Viscuso. Pask looking for Torres, cutting down low. Taken away by Paget. Napier. Cruz gets a little tangled up. A nice touch to get it out wide for Pask. Now he heads towards the end line. The centering feed, the back of the heel. Chris Wiley, he's got eyes in the back of his head.
Goal Lynchburg, scored by number 16, Chris Wiley.
Chris Wiley with his 5th goal this season. That's now his 3rd in 2 games. The Hornets are buzzing. That might be the first no-look goal I've seen in my lifetime. Velasquez pushes up. Schreiner back over for Perry. Rhodey kicks it back for Spodnik. Quick little dump off. Right back over for Rhodey. Lynchburg earns possession, and Evan Pask is hyped up. I mean, this game completely turned on its head. Through the first 40 minutes, this was all Messiah. On both ends of the field, they looked excellent. One penalty kick, and the flip just switched with the Hornets. Two brilliant touches. Gets it over for Fisher Daniel. We've seen Lynchburg in a handful of instances such as this one so far this season where they just get hot in a flurry. And this is a squad that's not going to sit on their heels and park the bus and try and just walk away with the victory. They bring the intensity. That's a big reason why they're top 20 in the country in goal differential. Tough collision. Everybody pops right back up to their feet. Lynchburg with possession in their own defensive end. Nice through ball. Lopez Correas, one man to beat. And the pass for Andres Romero gets sent back to Napier. Napier with a left, immediately ricocheted right back into his lap. Torres operating towards the middle of the pitch. And now Lynchburg will reevaluate their options. Over for Rouse with plenty of daylight. Pask from way downtown. This one's deflected. Rouse approaches uncontested. Patient offense now from the Hornets. It is unbelievable how this Lynchburg offense has performed this season. It's just so hard not to highlight what they've been able to accomplish in such a small time frame. We've got a squad that has scored 38 goals this season while only allowing 6. And if you go back to a season ago, they scored 32 goals last year. They'd beaten that mark coming into tonight and then just added to it exponentially. I mentioned it in the open, how this Lynchburg team sits nationally in regards to what they've accomplished on the offensive end. Is Andres Romero trying to add to it. Andres Romero nearly had Evan Pask. He said that one got deflected. Looks like his appeal is going to be granted. Hornets 6th in the nation for scoring offense with 3.4 per contest. And on the defensive end, tied for 15th with half a goal allowed per game. And again, these are the numbers just coming in tonight. That offensive output continually rising. Velasquez towards the center of the box, popped up. A little miniature bicycle kick right there from Matthew Viscuso. Maybe they call that one the unicycle. Keep one foot on the ground. Sean DiLorenzo versus the field. Looked like that one might have just gotten away from Velasquez. No harm, no foul for the Hornets. Long ball downfield. Whistle will allow Lynchburg to keep on moving forward. Fisher Daniel gets taken down right outside the top of the box. This one could be a card. And it will be. Yellow card awarded. Set piece in prime position for the Hornets. Just under 26. Chris Bovo alongside DiLorenzo. The officials backing up that four-man wall. Chris Bovo. Too much sauce. Goal kick now for Forrest. Torres with a nice header. Fisher Daniel reclaims possession. Lynchburg with 4 games going on tonight, looking to pull off the multi-sport suite. Women's volleyball won in 3 frames. Field hockey clinched the first ever Beard Cup against Sweetbriar. Those 2 programs going back all the way to 1920. Men's soccer in firm control tonight. Lopez Correas with numbers. 3-on-2 break. Drops it off. Di Lorenzo! Sean Di Lorenzo continuing to cook.
Goal, Lynchburg!
Sean Di Lorenzo in the last 3 games is playing like a man possessed. 5 goals across 3 contests and makes it a 5-1 affair in the 24th minute. With 24 minutes to go, this game has completely taken a 180. Well, whatever that coaching staff said to Sean Di Lorenzo and their meeting last week, and if you missed that from the first half, we were talking about Di Lorenzo, and I got the chance to sit down with Iko. He said, we had Sean come in here and we had a long conversation about, what he can really be as a player. And a young kid, a sophomore that is starting to take a much bigger role in this team. Scored his first goal against Region. Ever since then, he has had so much more confidence on the pitch. It's radiating all the way up to the press box. Has scored a goal in 4 of his last 5 contests, one of which includes a hat trick. And this Lynchburg team just has so many different ways to beat you on the offensive end. Bovo showing off the wheels. Chris Bovo. Oh. That one had a whole lot of power behind it. Just couldn't put it in the top shelf. Host of substitutions for each side. Lynchburg will bring on Cristobal Massanet, Vasquez, Colby Wilson. I mentioned it when this game was in 3-1. This is a Hornet squad that is not going to show any sign of slowing down offensively. They've certainly kept the pressure, and it's paid off. That lead not insurmountable quite yet, but you feel like it's getting to that point. apologize, we lost you momentarily. Another big shout out to our operations crew tonight. Here's a good chance for Messiah. If you're Messiah, I mean, just what an unfortunate start to the season for this squad. A program with such an esteemed tradition and so much success under their head coach since 2009. I mean, this is a team that has not missed the tournament. They've had 5 national championships. They're not out of the picture quite yet. This is a team that can really, really complicate things if they can come away with a conference championship and they get that automatic bid. That's not a team that you want to play, that has had trial by fire this season, playing one of, if not the most difficult schedules in all of Division III. They have been stacking up ranked opponents like nobody's business. Now you see the bench start to clear a little bit, and we'll get a host of substitutions for Messiah. They just had half the lineup come out. This is a very, very talented Messiah team that has a whole lot of excellent pieces. This is not a squad that looks like their record may reflect. This is a very, very strong ball club. They have just had a tough time playing a full 60 minutes, or 90 minutes rather, than against these really formidable opponents. And it's tough to walk away with victory in those kind of situations. Nevertheless, right as they now head into conference play, it feels like a regroup almost, where you can just hit the reset button and say, you know, we're gonna run the table. And that's not something that should be absurd to hear whatsoever from a Messiah team that did exactly that a year ago, going an unblemished 7-0 in conference play. Meanwhile, if you're Lynchburg, you got to feel really great about where you're at this season. DiLorenzo, watch out, lefty, ricocheted away, charging in. Chris Bovo couldn't put it on target. Fourth save of the night for Forrest. 2 excellent shots on that sequence from Lynchburg. Colby Wilson going through traffic, lays it out for the speedy Vasquez. We'll have another substitution come on. And the midfielder, Matt Viscuso, now will check in at the back line and sub out Benji Velasquez, who tabbed his first goal of the season in the opening half, just his 3rd goal through his 4 years with the Lynchburg Hornets. A guy that has meant so much to this program, a back-to-back conference defensive player of the year. His day is done. Forrest now will send everybody downfield. Vasquez off the dome. Once again, DiLorenzo. Rodriguez in Perry. Oh, crafty move. Cristobal Massanet says, I'll have none of that, and sends it out of the arena. Yeager will toss one in from the far side of the field. 15 and a half left to be played. Horizon's Edge has been very generous to Lynchburg this season. If the score finishes as it currently sits, Lynchburg 9-2 differential against Franklin and Marshall and Messiah here at Horizon's Edge. A neutral site, but somewhat of a home game. It's one of those where you've got Georgia playing Ohio State in Atlanta. That kind of feel to it. Certainly more Lynchburg representation here tonight, but still a good showing from the Messiah crowd as well. Vasquez with a nice touch. Trying to lay it out in front for Wilson. Shifts over for Di Lorenzo. Earlier on this season, when I was chatting with head coach Yeager, and I was looking at the schedule and talking to him about it. After that Mary Washington victory, I looked at him and I said, Coach, you got a really good shot to possibly run the table and stay unbeaten until arguably that Valwez Hampton-Sydney contest, and that'll really set the stage for two really big ones. He smiled at me and gave me a slow nod and said, we'll see. You can tell that his staff has felt confident in their group and what they've built. But at the same time, this is a team that really focuses on one game at a time, which is the ultimate coach speak, and it's what every single coach is going to tell you. But it's fascinating to see how true that rings with this Lynchburg men's soccer group this season, where they don't take anybody for granted. And a lot of times you have teams going into a matchup and saying, we could play 75% and walk out of there with a 3-0 victory, but that's just not this Lynchburg team. And you see that when they're knocking teams down 9-0, when they're walking out with 3-0 victories or 4-1 victories or 5-1 victories on neutral sites against formidable opponents. They have no signs of slowing down and picking up momentum as they return to conference play this weekend to host to host Virginia Wesleyan. Virginia Wesleyan, Hampton-Sydney on deck, then EMU, Roanoke, and Washington and Lee in Las Vegas. And you close out the regular season at home against Shenandoah. Well, you've accomplished a lot so far. It doesn't really mean much. There's 3 matches against the quote-unquote current top dogs in the ODAC. All still left on the schedule. Every one of those has already played one of those or 2 of them. Not Lynchburg. Waiting for all 3. Next week in some change. You got to play 2 of them on the road. But what they have accomplished has been extraordinary. Unbeaten through 11 games. They'll walk out of here 9-0-2. And Lynchburg just continuing to climb up in the polls. They were receiving votes in the preseason and dropped out of the receiving votes column. They weren't ranked for the next 3 weeks of the poll and jumped in at 22 and then 17 in this most recent poll announcement yesterday. Augie. Paredes. Lopez Correas. Swarmed by 2 defenders. Nice touchdown of bounds by Schumacher. Colby Wilson. Couple of touches. And it ripped away. It was a man with a takeaway. Gilman now out in front. Shoots it far side of the field. Under 10 minutes to play. And we mentioned it in the first half. 60% of the goals scored against Franklin and Marshall, once again, I apologize, against Messiah this season have been scored in the second half. That rings true once again today. 3 of the 5 coming in the second half. Physical play. They both got tangled up. Older brother picking younger brother up. Or no, pardon me. I am mistaken. Thomas Viscuso has departed this affair. That is Matt Kapsidis. Already played in a handful of contests this season. Go-to alternate. Lynchburg has played all 4 of their keepers so far this season. It's the 3rd appearance for Matt. 3rd consecutive game that he has appeared in as well. Well, it'll be a cheerful 2-hour bus ride back home to the Hill City for the Lynchburg Hornets. Just building off of what they've already established as a strong foundation here in the 2025 campaign. Meanwhile, for Messiah, dropped to 3-7-2 on the season. Conference play on deck the rest of the way. We got 6 conference games after they tied their opener against Widener University 0-0. We start with Eastern University this upcoming Friday. They got back-to-back road games at home, and then you run that sequence back once again with 2 more road games and a home game against Hood to close out the regular season. This is a team that has played better at home for the most part this season. Slow roller. Sides. Just to give you a final touch of scores around the Hive, Virginia Wesleyan and Lynchburg women's soccer tied at 0-0. It's one of the best fall seasons for Lynchburg sports in program history. You've got men's soccer that'll jump up to 9-0-2, women's soccer at 8-1-2, field hockey at 8-3. Women's volleyball has really been the talk of the town this season, which is wild to say when you've got 3 of the 4 teams in the top 25, and women's soccer with a great season thus far. They're the only outlier in that category. And their only loss this season came to Emory on a neutral site. One of, if not the best teams in women's Division III soccer this year. They've also got cross country in the mix, led by head coach Sam Laneza. That's the squad roaring for another ODAC title, both on the men's and women's side. It's a great day to be a Hornet. Crafty footwork. The cross off the chest. Shot is 2 up top. A good look. First shot we've seen in a while from the Falcons. And it looks like the final group of substitutions enter for the Hornets. Under 5 minutes to go. The throw-in. Back to Forrest, who sends it towards midfield. And we're going to have a card given out. Wow. It's an odd time for a card. Nevertheless, it goes against Lynchburg's Max Tyshoff. Clock stops with 3:01. Another big night for the Lynchburg offense with 5 goals. This is a squad that has shown you all season that any given night they can give you 6 or 7. And they've got a variety of guys that can put the ball in the back of the net. Di Lorenzo, the team leader this season, added another one to his total tonight, up to 6 on the year. 5 guys with 4 or more goals this season. Nevertheless, a fun contest. It started off as very competitive all the way through the first 45 minutes in the second half. Lynchburg just ran away with it. This is a Messiah team that has a whole lot of promise and will now return to conference play and look to run the table and make a really good push towards the postseason. Looks like Lynchburg
10,
might try and get one
9,
more away.
8, 7,
Falcons
6, 5, 4,
not going to let them do
3,
it.
2.
That will conclude our broadcast so much. Thank you for coming out.
Lynchburg win!
Hornets 5-1 victory. Their winning streak moves on to 8 unbeaten through their first 11 matches. Hornets next game on Saturday. I'll have the call on FloSports. We'll see you there, Schellenberger Field. Till next time, thank you so much. Stay cool.